What is up, crew? It is your host, Brad Bodnarchuk, and I am extremely happy to welcome you back to the Half a Dozen Hospitality Podcast. And I'm coming to you today. We're mixing it up. I'm no longer in our truck. I'm now sat in, I guess, like our quasi office space, which I know for most of us is our dining room table. So welcome to my dining room table. So happy you guys are here and excited to get right into part 3 of the Mindset in Hospitality podcast. So if you guys haven't already, I encourage you to go back and listen to part 1 and part 2, but I'll give you a brief kind of overview of why I'm doing this and what you can expect to get out of it. So the idea of this 5-part series of podcasts is I want to take us, and this is us as a collective industry, I want to take us from a hospitality mindset, a mindset of always looking after others, to what I'm calling a mindset in hospitality. And for me, what that means is a far more proactive, a far more productive, a far more business savvy. I don't want to use the word aggressive, but a far more calculated approach to how we run our businesses. And I think for so long, and again, this is a general statement, a broad stroking statement. I think for so long, so many of us have been running our businesses within hospitality, within food and beverage, kind of day to day, without much focus, without much, okay, where are we going? What is our end goal? And while I understand that it is a ever-changing business and we're dealing with consumer behaviors and we're dealing with the economy and we're dealing with so many different moving parts, and that's why I know this industry is so dynamic, but it doesn't allow for us to get off easy saying that, oh, well, we can't sit down and plan, or we can't sit down and strategize, or we can't sit down and forecast and have a structured approach to how we run our businesses. So that's what I'm hoping to share with you guys through this 5-part series is how can we look at our individual businesses and the industry as a whole as a more fluid, solid, and concrete business. So I want to help you each individually and also, again, collectively as an industry, kind of shore up what we're offering and say goodbye to the days of, just flying by the seat of our pants. While that may be fun and it may have worked for a certain time, we all know there's no long game in that. And I've been talking about that over the first two versions of this series. Is right now the way we're operating, and it's become violently clear during this pandemic, is we aren't prepared as an industry to operate like a strong business. So we need to switch that. So let's get on to part 3, which is today's podcast. And what I want to share with you guys is something that comes very naturally to me because I grew up playing sport, soccer as a young kid and hockey as well. And then hockey through high school and through university. And sport is still such an important part of my life. I love to be active and I love to engage with sports, watching it on TV or watching it with friends live. But I always see in my consulting work, and now as I sit down and develop this 5-part series, there's so many parallels that can be drawn between a solid business and a solid sporting team. So that's what I wanted to kind of review with you guys today is when we switch from a mindset in hospitality, let's start looking at our businesses. Let's start looking at the industry as you would say a football team, an American football team. And the reason I think there's so many parallels, or there should be so many parallels, is there's a few reasons. First and foremost is the amount of preparation that goes into a football game. Now, I know that there's a football game in the NFL, there's a football game once every week. So whether it's a Thursday game or a Sunday game, teams are taking a whole week to prepare for that one game. But the beauty here is in the preparation, whereas I know we are operating our businesses, most of us 7 days a week. It doesn't really allow for us to necessarily take a week off to prepare for one service. But at the core, what they do and do so well is that preparation. They take time, they have systems in place, they have processes in place to when the game day comes or when you open your business, you unlock the door, you turn the lights on. Nothing is a surprise. It is all kind of laid out for you. And that for me is so imperative and so different from what we see happen in our industry on a regular basis, is a more reactive style of business. And again, what COVID has done is kind of, made that aggressively apparent that we are such a reactive business. We are not protected. There aren't any systems. And if they are, they go as far as the recipes in the kitchen. But outside of that, there's no other real system. So I want to look at how sports teams prepare so in depth and so detailed, and say, why can't we be doing that in our industry as well? Why can't you be doing that with your business as well? Why can't you be sitting down, strategizing, looking at your strong suits, looking at where you're weak, where you need to improve? That's another point as well. You look at how sports teams will play a game, and not only will they prepare for the next game, but they'll reflect on the game they just played. So here's a question for you. If you're listening and you're working in a restaurant and a leadership team, or maybe you own your own business, how many days a week or how much time do you allot to reflecting on, the market you had on that Sunday or the service you had last night? How much time are you spending reflecting, assessing your business and assessing your offering? In sports, it's done all the time, but it's done in a way that's more positive. And I think the traditional way of reflecting and assessing in other industries is like an annual review, which at times can be extremely negative. And it kind of has that connotation to it that it's a negative process where we're talking about what weak points did we have. And while it is important for us to do that, I would argue you need to do it more often, so it's not as a shock to the system. So we're constantly assessing and reassessing. The improvement mindset for me is something that is very, very natural in sport, but not so much in our industry or in business. But it is a vital piece if we are going to change our industry or change your individual workplace and boost growth. So I want to share with you guys today, part of the mindset in hospitality as we move forward needs to be an improvement mindset. It is, how can I improve my offering? It isn't just, okay, I'll just cook this and put it out and then run another service. It is, how can we improve on what we offered yesterday or a week ago or a month ago? But it's doing it consistently. It's doing it with processes and with systems, which is, again, what I preach. But what I'm seeing in regards to feedback right now through these two podcasts right now, and this is the third, is the biggest issue holding a lot of us back isn't that we lack structure, it isn't that we lack systems. One of the biggest things is consistency with those things, but it all comes down, for me, my opinion is mindset and our habits. Like, what is your actual mindset? How do you feel about your business? How do you feel about the longevity of your business? How do you feel about, sitting down and having a real conversation? Like, how did you perform? How often are you assessing things? Are you afraid to assess things? Are you avoiding it because you don't want to have those tough conversations either with yourself or with your team? These are very important questions to be asking, and I think ones that need to happen now. Like I said in the previous podcast, if not now, when? When we look at this new mindset in hospitality, there is a constant awareness of exactly what you as an individual leader or as a business bring to the business or bring to the industry. There's also a shared acknowledgement that there's always need for continuous improvement. And that's something that I want to kind of put a big highlighter mark through, is continuous improvement. Again, a general statement. If something is really good, say you bake pies and the pies just sell out every week at the market, that's great. But I challenge you to think about, how can I continuously improve on my offering, whether it is from a branding standpoint or from a marketing standpoint or from your recipe. Can you change things? Can you make something that's already great better? And that, for me, is a key switch from a hospitality mindset to a mindset in hospitality. Again, I want to have all of us more well-equipped to grow our businesses, more well-equipped to make the industry stronger. I want to see us all last longer. So for today, my big message for you guys is, take an approach like a sports team. Take an approach like a football team. Prepare, execute, and then assess. That's what we need to be doing. That's, it's funny as I say that out loud, that's basically what I do with my consulting clients. Is we originally will assess where they're currently at, then we'll prepare some new structures and systems and processes, and then they'll execute those, and then we'll reassess. And it's a constant reassessment. It has to be done consistently, day in and day out, or at least weekly. If we're not doing that, we can get caught up in, oh, I'm too busy, or I don't have time. And these are just stories we've been telling ourselves in this industry for way too long. And it's time to stop it. It is time to act as if we are $1 million business. And if you're $1 million business, it's time to act like you're $1 billion business. Our industry needs all of us to pull up our pants a little bit, get a little more serious about the business side of what we're doing, and then execute. So today, what I want you guys to take from this is think of your business and approach it like a sports team. Be serious, assess, have fun, because sport is fun, but make sure you have a mindset of continuous improvement. And the moment that we feel like everything is sorted, everything is great, everything is awesome, that is the moment we need to be questioning, okay, what can we do better? Because this doesn't stop. This is like life. There's always stuff coming up. And for me, it's either a test or a celebration. And I'm taking that from the book, which I'm reading right now, which is The Way of the Superior Man. If you guys haven't read it, I encourage you to read it, male or female. But what he talks about in the book is life is just that. It's either a series of tests or a series of celebrations. So for me, in our industry right now, this is a very serious test. How can we come out of this stronger? How can we come out of this with better offerings? And how can you improve your business for yourself, your team, and your guests? I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in to these podcasts. It absolutely means the world to me. If you would, I would also appreciate it if you would like and share this episode. If you know anyone that would benefit from hearing this podcast, it would mean the absolute world to me. I hope you guys are all well. I hope you are surrounded by family and friends. And I look forward to seeing you next week for a brand new episode. You know what to do until next time, guys. Be good and do good. Peace.
It's just like that as we proceed. And we out here. Luxurious limoncellos, what we bout here. Tahiti violet vibrations, no doubt here. Celebrations and salutations, and we out here. It's just like that as we proceed. Introducing Cadillac, a flowetry finesse and slalom slopes down the wavy west coast, making toasts and this special dedication. Up another level, levitation. It's yoga, heavy metal meditation. We floating only upwards, only tenderonies when homies open up the cupboards. Triple kiss fam, subtle signal, prosecco in the pail, getting carried in. All white linen suits, still y'all pale in comparison.